Left jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best, you gotta show me son. Actions over words, baby boy, is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come back. Sports, talking way too much, world come back. Sports, talking way too much, world come back.
Your big shout out to everyone that's early in the AM. It's Wednesday. You already know, man. It's not coming for WCS to be out when the skies have rested. But yes, you're talking about USMC retired. And sometimes I get up and I recon the area. Absolutely. I have a great topic. I just had some things to do earlier, but I want to reconcile whatever doubt that may be out there about the new information is just coming to light about Terrence Bud Crawford, right? This is off Earn Your Leisure, which did an outstanding interview, which I was able to hear Terrence Crawford touch on details that we haven't been quite to get close to yet. We haven't been able to get close to these details. And Terrence Crawford, I've also asked several times for an interview, and I would hope upon your convenience to stop by WCS and support a vet. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that would help out. Support a vet. I would appreciate it. Support a veteran, retired officer. You know what I'm saying? 20 years. And I would definitely like to communicate and have a dialogue about some of the stuff I heard, period. You know I'm in these streets all the time, right? So let's get down to the point. We want to go through the cycling process, right? And just kind of filter through and decipher what really means substance. And this particular live stream is not for the aerosexuals. This is strictly for the Bud supporters, the Bud Crawford supporters. We're going to listen to Earn Your Leisure, and you get to hear a lot of areas of Bud covering about the business part and some of the decisions he made. I loved it, man. I love the fact that he was able to experience some speed bumps, but not enough to impede his traffic to bring it to a halt. And that's what's important. You know what I'm saying? That's what's important. When we was in combat, sometimes we had speed bumps that impede our forward progress. And we were brought to a halt for all the wrong reasons. And this particular case is dealing with a lot less turbulence. When Terrence Crawford is speaking about, some of the business that we had questions about. He talks about the BLK Prime. He talked about, what was going on before he turned to go to BLK Prime. And also he just mentioned some things about the fight. I can let you hear it for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Be better. It'd be better that you hear it for yourself. So let's get to it. And those of you that's on deck, big salute. I know it's in the AM. It's Wednesday. But big shout out to the hottest MFing chat in the game. ASI certified official. You already know quality over quantity. Man, definitely appreciate y'all supporting the chat. channel. And also, if you want to donate, you can donate. Um, you know, the the Cash App is, flowing at the bottom of the screen. But let's get down to this audio because this is going to take a little bit of time. Let's get it.
Shape, prepared for whatever the opponent brings to the table. Make sure that I'm at the best of my abilities going into the fight. So I don't have to worry about nobody else. A lot of people ask me, what you got to do to win the fight? I just say, be myself. I always say that because I honestly feel as if I'm Terrence Crawford. Can't nobody beat me unless I be myself.
Yeah. So first round they didn't give to you. Second round.
Let me get into, beating yourself. Obviously, we understand that Terrence mindset is his first challenge is himself. You know what I'm saying? To get into the move, get organized first and foremost. He has a team, but you do have to have an inventory check of yourself. You always used to do that. When I was about to go into a physical aspect of training, I had to have a physical inventory of myself. I had to make sure those certain areas was up to par. Man, they was ready. They was pre-inspected. I had to make sure everything was good to go, even mind-wise. I was good to go. But I do see a habit with Crawford, when it comes to, you know, himself. He seems to have this internal communication with himself that seems to be pretty solid and effective. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it moving.
Around some things change. Is that the turning point in your mind? Like, all right, he's hit me with something. This is all he has. It's time to put this work in.
No, I don't really think he hit me with nothing telling in the first round. I think the first round was more so a fell-out round. I don't think either one of us did anything really in the first round. So I really didn't understand, how people had me losing it. Maybe because, he was coming forward a little more and he was pressing the action a little more. So they just gave it to him on aggression, but all in all, neither one of us really was doing too much in the first round.
See, the first tray is almost like a collection tray. You know what I'm saying? The first round was like a collection tray. It was what it was, It was 50% over in that offering trade, 50% over there. That would be the easiest round of them all. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? It was just a little short moment for them to get adjusted to where they was at and who they was in there with and what they was dealing with. But this would be the most subtle round, you know what I'm saying? The most innocuous round. And then the rest would be hellfire. You know what I'm saying? And that's what makes this fight so great, for Terrence Crawford, because he was on record as saying he figured him out in the first round. So I wonder, did Errol Spence know that Terrence Crawford figured this man out in the first round? I mean, I think it would change up a lot of stuff, to be honest.
In the second round, things start picking up a little more than there was in the first round. I got the knockdown, and that changed the fight from there on.
So I always.
That's not just smooth over and put it in neutral and let it roll down that hill. I mean, yeah, you knocked him down. It looked like he was going downhill when you did it, but you hit him with a 2-1 from what it seemed. He was in southpaw position. It seems like you hit him with a left-right. So, being that you hit that man with a left-right, it wasn't a body shot. They were saying he had rib injuries before that. So if he had rib injuries, how was he able to just hop back on his feet like that with rib injuries? Because you knocked him down, you sat him down. You know what I'm saying? He was lawn chaired on the front line. He was a lawn chair. You know what I'm saying? And he got back up, twisted to the back, stood back up on both legs, and his ribs didn't seem like it was a problem. He did seem to be a bit I don't know, jolted by it. You know what I'm saying? He seemed to be a little rattled, but he made it through the second round. Thank Holy Jesus, because I think we would have had on top of the the T-Mobile massacre. I think it would have been a whole lot of collective areas there too. But that's good. That's good. You know, as far as the first round, then the second round with the knockdowns coming, and at that time it was a 12-round fight, and it was good to know that we was already up. Us being everyone opposite of the Errol Spence supporters. Let's continue to carry on. And y'all hit the like button. I appreciate you. And this is for Spence supporters to just digress and sit back in the back. You don't have to listen to this. This is just something how Crawford is going to explain the business aspect, which is, man, it was superb, man. It was good to finally hear him medi out the knowledge that we didn't know too much of. You know what I'm saying? And talk about from the physical aspects that he was a part of when the negotiation process that didn't work for him, and what avenues out as far as his options did he have to take. Let's get it.
Wonder this as a fighter, right? There has to be some level of, are you ever nervous, scared, doubt? Like, not only can you lose, but you can potentially get hurt bad, right? So going into the fight, like mentally, how is that process for you?
Well, everybody get nervous. You know, when these fighters say they lying. You know, everybody get nervous because you know what's at stake. You know, doubt. I wouldn't say like it cross your mind in training camp and stuff like that, but that's when you got to push harder in training camp when you got that doubt in your mind. So going into the fight, there's no doubt.
Looking for an easy way to get that LLC next to your business name? Say hello to Taylor Brand. You just go to their site, enter your LLC state, add your business name, answer a few questions.
There's no doubt whatsoever what's going to happen because I know I put the work in. So yeah, I don't worry about those thoughts going into the fight.
Yeah, I mean, after you win, and like when I'm watching this, when it gets stopped in the ninth round, I'm thinking to myself, that was pretty dominant, right? And I know there's a rematch clause, but in my head, I'm thinking to myself, are you looking at like, I've dominated this fight so much, like who is my next challenger, right? Because I seen there was some talk from the ringside to Charlo. I saw the look in your eye when you like, yo, I'm that guy. Like, what's your mindset right after that? Like, I just put him down. Who's next?
No, my mental was Just what you seen. You know, I went straight to the next champion in the next division, and that was Jamel Charlo. You know, me moving up, he got all the belts. He got to see me, and that's how I felt. Like, all right, letting him know, put him on notice that I'm coming for him.
Yeah, I see that. I'm like, first I'm like, who's he talking to? Then I realized it. I'm like, all right, automatically I've done this. In your mind, it's like, you're going to have to move up and weight, right? Because originally he was supposed to fight Alvarez. That kind of didn't work. So like,
no, he's fighting Canelo.
I thought it was his twin brother who was fighting him.
No, that's him.
Okay.
He's fighting Canelo.
So after he does that, is that something you're looking like, all right?
Yeah, if he come back in, win his title against Tam Tszyu, then that'd be a mega fight.
The rematch clause is up to Spence if he wants to exercise it.
Right.
So assuming that he's going to do that, I'm assuming that he would do it. I don't see why he wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
You think about what weight you want to fight at? Because let me ask you this. Some people say he was dehydrated and drained. That's why it looked so lopsided, because he came down in weight.
Well, you got to understand, my whole career, people been giving excuses for fighters that I've been in the ring with. You know, a lot of people say, oh man, you ain't fought nobody, or you fighting washed up guys, or you fighting over the hill champions, or this guy didn't train properly, or this guy did this and this guy did that. So if you watch my interviews when talking about a fight with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr., you would see that I always said, once I beat you and I make you look ordinary, they're gonna have an excuse. You know, Spence never came out with one excuse. He never said anything about nothing. He just said the better man won. But in their mind, they just can't understand the fact that I won in that fashion. So they like, something has to be wrong because this guy is not that good. That's what they think. But once a fighter get in the ring with me and it happens over and over and over, then they'll say, oh, well, this is the reason why he won like that, or this is the reason why, he lost like that. Not giving me my credit and saying that he knocked out every welterweight that was put in front of him.
Now, this fight was highly anticipated. It was something that obviously we wanted to see for years. The business of it is interesting, right? Because he has the opportunity to exercise the rematch clause. How did that business work out where, like, who's the A side, who's the B side? Because we've seen that plenty of times where that holds up a fight and people won't do it because they're like, I'm not the B side. How did that work between y'all in the negotiations of it?
Well, I really didn't care the A side or the B side.
So Terrence Crawford said he didn't care about the A side or the B side, but it seems like outside, in the YTC community, everybody cared about it. That was on, Errol Spence side. They cared he had to be the A side because he did everything that they wanted him to do, or whatever that case may be. Picking up the WBC and the WBA, okay, he was the A side. But, you're hearing it right here. Hey, Crawford is putting it out there. You know what I'm saying? He's letting it be known.
I just wanted to fight.
He just wanted to fight. Yes, he wanted some contractual details taken care of. Who wouldn't? It's just not the A side. Let's talk about money. We're talking about money on those damn fine details. It's not just who's A, B. It ain't like we learning the alphabet.
Is the business behind closed doors was right, then we had to fight. I didn't really care if the poster says Spence Crawford, Crawford Spence. At the end of the day, we got to fight. Long as, the business is right, then I'm cool with it.
So look, over the last 5 years, we've been seeing a lot of these mega fights taking place, right? And that was a knock on boxing for a long time, that the fights that the public wanted to see were not taking place. What do you credit that to? I see you guys kind of thanked each other for making the fight happen. So do you credit that to the boxers, or do you credit that to, the promotional companies? Like what has moved the sport forward where now guys are actually really fighting each other?
I credit the fighters. I really believe me and Spence was a big part of making this fight happen.
Do you feel okay?
If me and him wouldn't have gotten on the phone and talked out some issues that we was having with the lawyers and stuff like that, then who knows if the fight would have continued, you know? Yeah, so I'm a firm believer as the fighters make the fights if they really want them. Because if I want to fight you and you want to fight me, you're going to go to your peoples and say, hey, look, I want to fight him and I don't care about nothing else. You know, they might be looking out for you and say, all right, well, if you're going to fight him, we want you to get this or we want you to get that. And you may be like, nah, we ain't gonna get over on him. I'm gonna take this and he gonna take that and we gonna fight. You know, so I feel as if a lot of fighters, they hide behind a promotional company or their management company or their advisors and things like that. And that's why a lot of fights don't get done or one's ego is bigger than the other. And instead of coming together, you want to try to take the biggest pot because you feel as if you bringing more to the table when both of y'all bringing a lot to the table because both of y'all is stars. So
So that's an excuse when boxers say like, talk to my promoter or my promoter. That's that they're using it as an excuse.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The top ranked guy won't fight the premier guy. Won't fight.
And it happened plenty of times. You seen Tyson Fury fight Deontay Wilder. You seen Lomachenko fight Gary Russell Jr. I didn't fought 2 PBC fighters, but when it came to me fighting one of the champions, that's when it got.
Hold on.
Yeah.
don't embarrass our guy.
No, it's just like, you know, you're not about to come over here and beat one of our guys and take a title back to your promotional company, and we don't have no ties with you. And it's just like, now what do we got to offer? Or what do you got to offer to us? So I see the business side of it, but as a boxing fan, you want those type of fights. And you call for those fights, but the business just get in the way of those fights happening.
So as a competitor, after the fight, does the business side kick in? Are you as competitive when you're looking at the numbers coming back? I know there's some estimates of over 700,000 pay-per-view buys. Are you looking at that and saying, all right, we hit our number? Are there metrics that you're looking at from the business side? What did the gate do? Like, how does that go?
Well, we looking at everything. You know, at this point in my career, we're gonna look at everything. You know, we're gonna look at the sponsorships. We're gonna look at the gate. We're gonna look at the merchandise.
We're gonna look at the sponsorships, the gates, the merchandise. sponsorships, the gate, merchandise. The only reason I'm mentioning these layers is that there was a time and place that they act like Terrence Crawford didn't have an idea about what he had going on. Like he was just out here freestyling it. And come to find out, with this fight, being it take a fight longer than what we expected, that he did some pretty good business deals. And he even talks about the hedge fund situation on how it wasn't as effective as he initially thought in the process. And I think I could have went over this when I did that live. I told people that, hey, I'll just wait till he get there. But these are some good details on them being able to get a portion of a lot of things. And he mentions having a percentage on everything. Percentages are good. You know what I'm saying? But he said if you take a flat, that's it. You take a flat, that's that.
We're gonna look at everything, because that all matters.
Mhm.
And that's just part of business.
Yeah, I'm thinking to myself, right? Because that's the first thing they'll do is like, this is one of the highest anticipated fights. They're looking at the numbers. They're saying, oh wait, well Tank Fort Garcia and that did this amount of views, and this one did this amount. And they try to compare it, but in your mind, was there a number that was like, if we hit this is successful, or did we underperform?
No, not really. I wasn't too worried about that because I knew me and Spence will sell.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a lot of extraness going on with me and him. I feel like as if it wasn't covered enough, like a Tank and a Ryan, because of it wasn't any controversy. It wasn't us bad mouthing each other. It wasn't us disrespecting each other.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, us pushing each other or trying to do anything to, make everybody be like, "Oh, did you see that? Did you see that?" It was
Put
just,
the purse up.
Yeah, it was mutual respect, and I don't feel like, two grown men gotta put on a show just to sell a fight, and I believe that me and him proved that.
What's going on, y'all? That's right. The biggest event in business is upon us. Invest Fest.
And not just taking what you offer them, then things get complicated. And then at the same time, he couldn't deliver the fights that I wanted. Not because he couldn't, it's because the relationship that he had with the other promotional company.
Al Heyman.
Yeah, with PBC and Al Heyman. So, that was another factor. And things just didn't work out between us.
So as far as like, for a long time, it was Bob Arum is Al Heyman, right? And it made things complicated on the business side. The business model of boxing is like difficult for business to get done. Where like, let's say like a UFC where everybody's under one umbrella, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boxing. So, but now a lot of guys are kind of like independent, doing their own thing. So the future of boxing, do you see more people not necessarily having a promoter or kind of like doing like co-promotion? Because you're independent right now.
Right.
Is that something that you see more, in your opinion, that's going to happen more in the future?
I would like it to happen, but at the same time, you got to understand, some of these fighters that's growing up in the hood or in the ghetto in poverty, they don't have no money.
Sure.
So when a promoter come and see their talent and say, "Hey, listen, I give you $500,000 signing bonus, to sign with me for 5 years plus XX if you become a champion," it's hard to turn that down, and not have the right people around you to guide your career, because it's hard to do things on your own when you're not at this level. Where you gonna fight at? How you gonna get any recognition? what network is you gonna fight at? You know, if Top Rank, PBC, the Zone don't put you on TV, nobody's gonna see you. So now what? How are you gonna market yourself? You stuck in a box where you got all this talent, but you ain't got nowhere to showcase it at. You ain't got no opportunity to showcase it at. And then when you do get the opportunity, people not really gonna be hipped on you. They might see you, but then now your numbers is still at ground zero, and now they use that as a bargaining tool.
Do you think a boxing league can ever happen?
Yeah, of course. If a lot of these old fighters and people that want to clean up the sport of boxing come together and put their knowledge together and think of ways to make a organization that's fair for all fighters, then yeah, it could happen.
$600 as an amateur. That's what you were making.
You've got an amazing business idea. Now what?
Right?
My first professional
fights. So to have where you're at now, obviously multi-million-dollar fights, you said something important in one of your interviews. You said, I had to surround myself around people who knew about money. I had no idea about money. I had no idea about financial literacy. Who were those people that you started surrounding yourself with early in your career, and are they still around?
Of course. So first and foremost, I surrounded myself with my 4th grade teacher. She put me in contact with a lot of individuals that have a lot of money, that's wealthy, that's doing great things in life, and from the accountants to the financial advisors to all that. And I went from just putting money in the bank and thinking, let me just save the money, to actually making real investments. So it started with her.
Yeah, when I asked the second part about the people still around, because when I hear you talk, there's a humbleness, but there's a sense of loyalty. Like, if I watch your fights, we can see the loyalty. And we watched it when you fought in Omaha. And a lot of people are looking at it like, why is he fighting in Omaha? But there's a loyalty to your hometown. And when I was reading about it, I'm thinking to myself, is he taking the college athletics game plan where it's like, you know what? There isn't a major sports league here. There isn't none of the 4 professional leagues in Nebraska, but the college team is here. And it's the biggest thing in the state. If I can win Nebraska, the people will come out and support. When you were going through the process of trying to find ways where to fight, I know there was some issues with your promotional team. They didn't want you to do it. What was your mindset saying, I have to do it here, I have to bring it here? This is where loyalty lies?
No, that was just something that I always wanted to do, was give back to my city, because they always been supportive of me ever since the Nationals. Ever since I was a little kid, they always supported me to the fullest. And I just always knew if I brought an event to Omaha, that it would sell out, that they would come out, they'll support. I was fighting, in barns in Iowa City, Iowa, with 50 people in it. I was fighting in Ames, Iowa, when with girls being the main event, when it ain't nobody there, but my whole family taking that drive, and I got most of the crowd. So I was coming up. It was tough, and I was just like, I don't understand the level of confidence that they got in these people, making them the headline of the show, but they wouldn't give me the opportunity to fight. And that wasn't with Top Rank. That was with TKO Promotions.
Okay.
So once I got signed by Top Rank, I stressed the fact that I wanted to fight in Omaha. I told them, like, listen, I want to fight in Omaha. I got a big following in Omaha, and I think it'll be big. They really too much didn't believe me. Bob and them said, you win the title, we're going to bring it back to Omaha. So once I won, they wanted to take it to Iowa where the casinos. It's only like, 10 minutes away, 5 minutes away. I'm like, no, I'm not fighting there. I just had to stand my ground. Like, listen, it's Omaha or nothing, because 10,000 people, it's going to be way more than that. And they was looking like, all right, we're going to see. So once the fight got announced with me and Gamboa, and they seen the magnitude and the support of the people that came out to support me and cheer me on, they was like, man, this is crazy. This is incredible. And I'm like, I told y'all.
Well, you are.
How can you sleep on such a firm setting?
Visit sleepnumber.com to shop now.
About this, what do he think about that? And he gave me his opinion. And his main thing was, get you a team that you can count on. His main thing was having a strong team. And he stressed that he wouldn't been able to accomplish all the things that he done accomplish if it wasn't for his team, and I was like, how can I be a part of your team?
We'll be on the Berkshire team,
Right.
please.
We'll be on the team, you know what I mean? But
You and Charlie, we can get this thing going.
Yeah, it was cool though.
So I saw a post where you talked about how you spent your first $1 million.
So what they was talking about was that Crawford has a very good friend in Warren Buffett, and how he, popped up and visited him sometime. I guess he was in a fight for it, and he came back there and checked him out, and they was back there talking. He said he was sitting in the presence of a person that's globally known, right? And to speak to him about the topic that they were speaking on, people pay millions of dollars for that. And we don't know the money. That's neither here nor there. But he was just talking about being in the presence of someone who's, on the highest tier of success. You know what I'm saying? And he has such a down-to-earth relationship with him. I thought it was cool. You know what I'm saying? But, when you listen to so much negativity on the YTC, these are areas that you don't hear. And these are areas that will continue to thrive for Crawford as he continue to get older, competes more in the sport, continue to get older, and, make higher paydays and be able to, build up his investment portfolio.
Right.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we did the show, how I spent my first $1 million, and it was just that, my first $1 million, most of it I spent on my family, and trying to make sure everybody is set, cool. I was the type of person that I really didn't care too much about shit for me. I cared about my family, how my sisters, my mom, that. So to pay them every month, because I was rules. Let's get our own, nothing.
On the WWE side, right? This goes back to boxing. You are a very mal-mannered person. You said like the last fight, you didn't have to do a lot of like antics to try to promote the fight. But the fighters that have always excelled have always taken on alter egos. We've seen Floyd, he said like, when he was Pretty Boy Floyd, he was a star. When he was Money Mayweather, that's when he became the icon. Muhammad Ali, everybody knows how loud and boisterous he was. Awesome. Even Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson wasn't really that loud, but he just had a very special aura.
Mike Tyson was crazy.
Yeah, he just had
an aura. Enough. You're right. Oscar with Golden Boy.
Yeah.
Changed it.
Yeah. So all right. So do you ever think about that? Like, maybe I should just do a little bit more, add a little bit more flash, or are you just comfortable just staying in your lane?
I always been comfortable with staying in my lane.
Earners, what's going on? Listen, EYLU is relaunching.
not for what I'm saying and hopping up and down on the stage. You know, when you look at all those guys,
You know, when people say stay in their lane, I totally agree. Some people have to have a lot of people around them, some don't. You know, just because I don't have a lot of people in my lane doesn't mean I'm not knowing what my direction is. You know what I'm saying? And then also the people that's in my lane or around my circle don't have to physically be there for people to see all the time. They could be helping me get to where I'm going and progressing quite well from a distance. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to boxing, we all know Crawford was quite tardy for the media side of the house. And it's good to see him out here now, of course. He get to talk to more people on the podcast and all that, and just tell a lot more to certain areas of these stories that we weren't quite sure of. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of question marks out there that just was based off the assumptions on the YTC, but not facts. So we get to hear the facts from Crawford.
a house right before this fight, and I closed on, you know, I mean, like, it's crazy. I just closed on, you know, a house right before this fight, and I closed on, you know, a big old building, you know, right in the middle of this. Like, I got probably like over 40 houses
in Nebraska.
In Nebraska, I got probably like 6, 7 apartment complexes. You know, I got land. I got, storefronts. So I'm heavy. I'm heavy in the real estate.
Peep this out, people. Peep it out, though. All right, let me go over here. It's close to 30 y'all, and you know what I'm saying? There's 23 likes on deck. Early in the AM. I mean, some of you all either at work, you know what I'm saying? You're active, you're tuned in. Like button. But check this out though. You ever thought to yourself, by preponderance of the evidence, that the YouTube is way off the mark with gauging fighters? You know what I'm saying? Just believing that just because you have access to talk about certain things they have going on with their career, you're still far away. You're so many miles away from what they actually have going on. And to hear Crawford said, to hear all the backlash and criticism that Crawford has been introduced to for quite some time, and definitely made a part of on a consistent regularity. You look at him saying he has 40 houses. You listen to him say he has real estate property. He has commercial property. He has land and everything like that. Even though it's not going to, even though he didn't form it in a question, form it in a way to say, well, I bought this house or I bought that property with the money I made at these fights. But ultimately, together, he made enough money so he can go out there and be comfortable, you know what I'm saying, to be able to invest his money like that. This is something that the naysayers don't know anything about. You know what I'm saying? His business mindset that he probably haven't mentioned yet, how he get a percentage of everything. I bet they don't like that. I'm telling you, like, this man has business galore with interest that's going to bring him residual income, generational wealth. And that's what we're talking about, man. Salute to him for getting into real estate and stuff that's going to bring him generational wealth. And also, if it's in an area where the property value will probably increase, if the right people told him, hey, this is what you want to buy, because in 10 or 15 years, it's gonna be a whole nother level. This is going to be a whole different area, rather, when it comes to the economy. It's going to be much more higher, everything around here. So, kudos to Crawford, man, for investing in himself, to basically benefit those around him so they can have places to work, and they can be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? Real estate, storefront properties, commercial buildings. That's great.
Talk about the land. Why a lot of people are interested in real estate right now, but why is it important for you to own land?
God ain't making no more land. You know, so if you can buy some land that's in a great area, and you can build on it, you can sell it, you can rent it, you can do multiple things with it, you know, and or you can just hold on to it till you figure out what you're gonna do with it, you know, because the world is constantly shifting, you know, and it may shift from one area to the another area because that area is already, you know, too flooded. So, you know, you got to move elsewhere. So, you know, I got some real valuable properties, you know, that I'm gonna build on, and yeah, and then it's gonna accumulate generational wealth, I would say.
So obviously, you know, you got a lot going on. Do you have somebody like that's like running those day-to-day operations of your real estate portfolio?
Yeah, well, I'm partnered with my guy Mark, and my girl. She handles all my homes and stuff like that, and I got people that give me advice on, you know, things to buy that's hot, that's not even on the market, you know, and whatnot. So I got a lot of great opportunities for, you know, great business ventures.
When we think Omaha, we think Nebraska. I wonder, from a standpoint of real estate, is there an agricultural play as well? Because we know a lot of farmland, a lot of resources come from middle of America. Are you looking at it from that standpoint, or are you looking at it from a commercial standpoint where I can bring additional businesses to add to the appreciation?
All, you know, I got, like I said, I got 20 acres, you know, that I'm building on right now, you know, and I can do all that there. You know, I can build a greenhouse out in the back of my yard. I can put some cows and stuff, horses in the back of my yard. You know, that's not anything that I can't do. I already have the storefronts and all that. So yeah, like the sky's the limit.
Let's talk about boxing. All right. If you had to give advice for a young fighter coming up, right? What path? Because it's like, I think your path, you sign with a promotional company and then you go independent. That's pretty common with a lot of boxers. And then it's like, do you just do one-off deals? We saw.
And this is where it gets very interesting, informative, to pretty much highlight certain areas of boxing business, which is great, being that Terrence Crawford was pretty much highlighted, you know, last year dealing with the PBC deal before he went to BLK Prime.
Canelo, he did a major deal with the streaming service. Yeah. I don't know if anybody's ever watching these fights though, but he's getting paid regardless.
30 million each.
There's different strategies. Like, what do you think? Like one-off deals, the streaming service way, the long-term partnership with a promoter. Like, what do you think is the best way to go about it?
Well, it's hard for you to say that because, like I said, you know, what part in their career are we talking? Are we talking when you first start, or when you become champion, or when you
like as a champion? Like once you're established already, now you got leverage, right? You don't have leverage when you first start, so I guess you have to go with a promoter.
It depends on how your name is. Like I said, that takes to where I was saying you can become a champion, but nobody really too much care about who you are. You know, do you got a name that's been marketed? Do you got a name that's been pushed? Because some promoters, they'll keep you on this level where you need them
on purpose.
You know what I mean? Yeah, they don't want you to
Get too
reach that. They don't want you to reach too high. So, you know what I mean? They ain't gonna do certain things to push you to be this superstar. Because once you become a superstar, you outgrow the belts. You outgrow the promotional company. Your name speaks for itself. Kind of like Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Oscar De La Hoya. They can do anything in boxing when they was boxing. And they didn't have to have a title. They didn't have to be named champion. Those sanctioning bodies wanted to be a part of them, like Canelo right now. Canelo don't have to be champion. He's made a name for himself, and he's earned the right to do what he's doing right now, and that's going to get a bag from going here, doing business with them, because he's got a name, and everybody know that if Canelo make and the people in Mexico is going to support him, the people in the United States is going to support him, and it's going to be a big event.
Now as you're doing this independently, and for people who are not familiar with how boxing is make money. Because I read something interesting that there was hedge funds that were willing to put up the purse for you in the Spence fight, which is like, okay, it's a lot of money. So like how do our boxers get the money? It's the purse, it's maybe percentage of the gate, concessions. What are the streams of income?
It depends on it depends
what you negotiate.
It depends on, the fighter. See, in my case, I get a percentage of everything that come in. Every penny that come in, I get a percentage of it. Yeah. if you sign a guarantee, then that's all you get. One thing about the hedge fund that I'm kind of glad that we didn't, sign that,
Mhm.
given that we don't get paid until they make their money back.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So once they make their money back, then they get a percentage of, everything that comes in. So it kind of take away from the fighters other towards, us betting on ourselves. We just like, all right, whatever come in, it's gonna be us.
So, but like at this level, the marquee guys, like the purses, the guarantee money that they get, win or lose.
Win or lose.
And then if you could get more than that if the pay-per-view numbers come back.
Right. But some people don't, some people get like probably like 8%, 9% of a pay-per-view fight. They probably get like, I was getting what, 6, 8% of the gate. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So like I said, your promoter, he's getting all that.
Right. So I'm saying if you're getting 6%, then there's somebody that's getting the 94%.
Yeah, I was getting.
So what I see with everything is that it's good that they didn't take the deal. At least they learned something from it. Those guys would have had to get paid back first, and once they was paid, the fighters get paid, but not as much as they would have if they would have did like a different deal, like they doing now. And it wasn't such a bad deal, being that the money has to come from somewhere. Just like when he went with the BLK Prime, the money has to come from somewhere. And and people are bragging about how PBC is putting on fights, but PBC itself didn't have the money to put on these fights. They was basically coddled by the Paramount, the Paramount people. So you can always tell when you have a new inlet of financiers who's taking over and allowing people to be able to put on fights. Because you go back to 2022, this didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't no, consistent fights be put on by PBC. And then they get over here, because you remember in the early of the year, I don't know why, certain individuals just bragging about this, but early in the year, they was talking about they just didn't have the money to get Terrence Crawford. They didn't want to insult him. But in 2023, they're coming out with Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, Caleb Plant, you know what I'm saying? David Benavidez. And they have the money to put on these fights and people ranting and raving. This is not going to be something consistent every year. They're going to have to make fights, and the fighters are going to have to be healthy to be able to put in position for people to come see them. The consumers are everything. Consumers are extremely important.
6% of the gate. I was getting 8 to 6% of the pay-per-view shares after it meet like a certain number that it never met.
hits.
Yeah. So,
crazy.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what I mean by when I say boxing is kind of shady. Well, it ain't kind of shady. It is shady.
So essentially, all right. A kid, 16 years old, shows very promising career ahead of himself. I'm a promoter, right? I come in, I give the kid $500,000. I sign him to an 8-year contract.
Okay, this is another teaching moment. Okay, these are guys that are not dealing with boxing, but that don't mean they can't make money off boxing, because anybody can make money off boxing. Real talk, anybody can make money off boxing. So, but pay attention to this. It's very informative.
Never.
Huh?
Never.
Longer?
No, never. You can't sign nobody for 8.
How long?
I hope you
how long can you sign him?
5.
5.
5.
All right, so
that's standard.
I signed him for a 5-year contract as soon as he turns pro, and I pay for his training. I pay for a lot of the promotion, but I'm receiving the majority of the money. It's an investment for me because he might not even work out.
Right.
Yeah.
If he does work out, I'm gonna recoup all of that money on the back end.
Times 10.
So but it's really looking at it like if I got 10 fighters, 9 of them probably not gonna work out. So the one fighter that does work out,
But you're gonna get. But the thing is like this, you're not gonna. You've been around boxing long enough
so you
to
can
know,
tell which one.
You know what I mean? What fighters bring to the table and what fighters that you thought was gonna be something that they not, because it's how you move them. You got all this money invested in them. You're not about to get him beat. You're not about to put him in there with some crazy opponent.
Yeah.
So you constantly grooming them step by step. And if you don't see what you know what I mean, you want to see in them, then you're gonna throw them to the wolves, and you're gonna have your other fighter knock him off, and you still make money. You're gonna make as much money as you can with him, while you got him, to recoup the money that you invested in him. And then you're gonna get him knocked off. And then after that, after you can't use him, you're gonna
find the next guy.
You're gonna cut him just like that. You're gonna say, "Oh, termination. We don't want you no more." And I find that kind of messed up as well. That a promotional company can say they could terminate your contract like this, but you can't terminate
the promotional
contract. Like, all right, I don't want you to promote me no more.
Yeah.
So it's always a one-way street.
It's a large percentage. So like even like the networks, so like when Showtime does a fight or HBO does a fight, they're inside of that 94% as well, right? If you're making 6% of the pay-per-view.
Yeah, you gotta understand, like when these networks go to a promotional company, they give a promotional company a budget, and they say, okay, well, here, this is for, this fight, these two guys to fight, and you don't know about that. It could be $10 million. It could be $5 million. They give you $1 million, they give you $1.5 million, and they just pocket the rest. Because it ain't like you can say, oh, well, what they put it on the table, or sometimes.
See, that's very important too. I've seen that with my own eyes. Where we're going to use the keyword budget. All right. They have a budget for a certain fight. So the matchmaker will come over here and let I guess the manager and the fighter know. They say you have $50,000. I mean, they won't let them know you have $50,000 budget, but they may have a $50,000 budget and tell the matchmaker, it's 10,000. You know what I'm saying? That you good with 10,000. And that happens on the lower realm of fighters who are not really considered the top of the heat. And I've seen fighters get, paid way below the budget, and those other people make money. A lot of times you don't know the budget. Your manager don't know the budget. Can your manager find out? Of course. You know what I'm saying? Your manager have to be on their shit though. Manager have to be on their shit. And sometimes the manager will sit up here and know they have to get their percentage, but they'll sit up here and take a little bit more and then give you the scraps too. That's how it works. I've seen it. Seen it with my own eyes on how a person is negotiating a fighter when the fighter ain't around. The fighter can still be in the area, but the fighter ain't around, and then the fighter ain't getting less money than what the manager get that was supposed to be for, portion of that was supposed to be for the fighter.
You don't know.
In terms of sponsorships, we've seen some fighters have deals with athletic companies. I wonder how you approach that, right? Like I've seen, I remember when Roy Jones had the Jordan brand, and I was like, yo, this is crazy. You got a Jordan sneaker. And then, Floyd did the quick thing with Reebok. What's that like for you in terms of athletic brands and sponsorships when it comes to your portfolio?
It's very tough nowadays because a lot of those big marquee brands is going to other sports like football, basketball, and other sports. So when you look at the Jordan brand, Andre Ward was the last one to have a Jordan brand.
Right.
When you look at the Under Armour, Canelo was the last one to have an Under Armour brand. Reebok, Floyd was the last one.
Nike, I think Nike did something with Pacquiao.
Nike did something with Pacquiao, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. So you'll see a lot of people wearing Nike. You'll see a lot of people wearing Adidas, and Adidas give a little money. Everlast give a little money, but not to the level of, what they was doing back then.
So there's been reports that some fighters like Regis Prograis weren't paid in full after their bouts. Has that ever happened to you?
No, I believe he got his money, but I don't know nothing about that.
Okay.
I remember the time that Regis was saying he didn't get his money. And that was after he fought William Cepeda. I'm pretty sure of that. And he was saying he didn't get all his money, whether they do that at and stuff like that. So, somebody better get my money. He was on live because Regis always go on live. Real talk. Regis has been on live the most, man. I swear to God. That's the only person I know that can go on live and then get results. But yeah, he wasn't paid all his money. He had fought Cepeda. I think that's the time he stopped Cepeda, and he didn't get all his money. So that was even worse. That was even worse because you just had a dominating performance, but yet your money's not on time. Yep, that is true. See, they be listening to YTC too. They be listening to YTC.
I heard about it, but I don't know.
You've never seen that though.
Yeah.
Okay, like a fighter actually fought and then still didn't. It's like that's like going to a club and performing.
Yeah, especially if you got a guarantee, you're supposed to get paid right after.
I wouldn't feel comfortable if I owed you money.
You gotta pay a boxer.
Yeah, I'm like,
and they shot me a number, and I was just like, huh? All right, on a bigger platform because they was on a little low platform, and they shot me a number, and
situation because that's not even. Is it still around or?
Yeah, it's still around. They still doing
performing.
Yeah, especially if you got a guarantee, you're supposed to get paid right after.
About to speak on BOK Prime.
I owed you money.
You gotta pay a boxer.
Yeah, I'm like, this is not. It's not gonna end well.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Well, can we talk about Black Prime?
Yeah, let's go.
So, did you sign for $10 million for that? Allegedly.
Allegedly.
So what happened with that situation? Because that's not even. Is it still around or?
Yeah, it's still around. They
Okay.
still doing fights and all that.
Okay.
You know, they reached out to me. They wanted to do business, and they was looking for the opportunity to step in on a bigger platform because they was on a little low platform, and they shot me a number, and I was just like, huh? All right, you know. And at that time, I was in negotiations with Arrow last year, and the negotiations was going south. You know, we wasn't really getting anything accomplished. We was just going back and forth. But I wasn't talking with Arrow. I was just talking with his handlers and stuff like that. And I was just like, look, this is what needs to be put on the table for me to fight. And they basically was like, look, take it or leave it. You ain't got nowhere else to go. So at that point in time, I was just like, okay.
I was watching the contract, you know, because there was so much banter about a contract. You know what I'm saying? Reciprocated over and over again, repeated, man. You know, it's about a contract. He didn't say anything about sign no contract, had a pen in his hand, any of that. It's just they was in the process of conversing with one another to try to figure this out. It's called negotiations. You know what I'm saying? Negotiations didn't go well. So they got to the point and say take it or leave it, as if, you know, they was talking to somebody in desperation. You know what I'm saying? And just imagine if he would have took that last year. It was a reason why the fight didn't happen. But we must commend and salute Terrence Crawford for holding his ground in the military. We definitely reward people who make conscious decisions that affect not just themselves and but others that's underneath them in the most positive way possible. So him walking away going to BLK Prime, he was able to have a fight in his hometown again, you know, give them a boxing showcase, championship showcase, and also fight one of the top ranked guys. I'm talking about the guy that's high in the ranking system. So it worked out great, and he got paid though, man. It's very, very commendable.
All right. See y'all in a minute. You know what I mean? And I reached back out to BLK Prime, and it was like, man, we with it. You know, who you want to fight? I'm like, I'll fight anybody. So at the time, we picked the highest rating person available, and that was David Avanesian. He was ranked number 6 in the division. You know, and we got the fight done, and I got paid, and you know, I went back to the drawing board and went back to the table and said, hey, look, you know, is we gonna get this fight lined up, or is we gonna still keep waiting?
So the most important thing to you, boxing is your career, but the most important thing, and it's evident every time I watch your fights, I see that front row, I see that family and being a father. Talk about that inside of, you know, the strenuous.
In Virginia, so that's 2 different states. See us perform doing the national tracks, like just all that stuff that means stuff to them. You know, I'm gonna be there.
So what's your walking weight?
Shit, 147. Why everybody ask me that?
Well, that's a common question you get.
Yeah, everybody want to know how big.
They want to know what Terrence Crawford walking around weight is. And I guess they're right on the nose. He say he walks around on 147. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? 146.8, you know, and walking around about 147 right now. That's about right. That's about a good rehydration. He said he ain't ate too much.
Yeah,
So
I'm skinny, man.
So we talked about Charlo, but from a financial standpoint, this is why I asked you this question, because you might have an advantage as far as the weight is concerned. But the biggest fight that I think that could be made is Tank Davis on a catch weight situation. I think he said that he felt confident that he would win that fight. So How you feel about that? How you feel about that fight? Is it possible? Is it even possible at a catch weight?
No, ain't no catch weight.
There's no catch weight.
Ain't no
Come up.
You come up to 47. Yeah. You come up.
So he mentioned Gervonta Tank Davis, you know, current 3-weight champion. You know what I'm saying? He's said on several occasions that he'll knock Crawford out. So pretty much, you know, from what Crawford's been able to accomplish, and you know Davis' numbers on pay-per-view, but when you come to the hardware and everything, you know, let's not be crazy. You know, Terrence Crawford shouldn't have to come down to catch weight to fight. No, it's just not any smart. You know, you're gonna try to weight drain somebody to come down and fight you. You got to move up to the big boys and see if you want to dance around at 47. And you say he had a chin, so just go in there with the mentality to knock him out, and hopefully the fight don't last that long. Like I said before, it's gonna be a long day, so you might want to pack a lunch up in there. Real talk. I don't see nobody running dead smack over Crawford. But yeah, it'll be a good fight. It'll be a big money fight. But I doubt it's gonna get made if he can't get no catch weight. And I agree with Crawford. No catch weight.
You're not even entertaining the catch weight.
No, I'm not.
He's a champ though too, undefeated.
And what champ?
He's not a champ. You don't have a belt.
What belt?
Have a belt?
What belt?
He's not even the number one.
Come on, man. Tell me what belt. You know boxing. Don't
I'm talking to a champ.
you forgot.
They tried to say that Gervonta had a belt, and then you know, Terrence Crawford reminded him that Devin Haney had all the belts, just not the regular belt, but all the belts he has supersede any other belt in the division.
You forgot Devin Haney is undisputed.
They still trying to get him to fight.
Who undisputed at 135?
Devin Haney isn't. I wanted to ask you about Devin Haney too.
So Devin Haney got all the belts. He the champ. Nobody else the champ.
But he's a bigger draw though.
Devin is the champ.
You're all set. You guys are going on last because you had the best audition.
Must be talking about us. We got gangsters in the house.
Oh,
We ain't just rappers. We gangsters. We come from the streets.
Beverly Hills.
sit your down.
But Tank's the bigger draw.
Oh yeah, definitely Tank the bigger draw, but
So you're not catching weight.
it's weight classes for a reason.
It's levels.
Tell them to come up.
Levels.
Tell them to come up here where the big boys at.
All right.
I'll welcome them.
I just got a few more just pure boxing questions. This is something that's always frustrated me. Speaking of Devin Haney, and shout out to him, great champion, but a lot of people felt that he lost that last fight, including me. I just think he lost. But I don't understand how boxing, you know how you watch the NBA, you know the score. Why can't boxing have each round, the judges post their score so we know where we're at?
The Letterman card, right?
No, because you might think you're winning and you're losing. You might think you're losing and you're winning. So in my brain, why don't you just have it each
I believe he's talking about open scoring.
Score each round.
Yeah.
And now the fans know who's winning and the boxers know who's winning as well. How do you feel about that?
That'd be crazy.
Live
It remind me of the amateurs when they was keeping score and letting us know round by round the score.
But do you like that idea?
Yeah, it's cool. I don't care about none of it, to be exact. Because I know I'm gonna go in there and do what I gotta do to make sure that I'm winning decisively. Not
But I think Lomachenko. Do you think Lomachenko won that fight?
It was a good fight. It was a close fight.
I think it was close.
It was a close fight. Lomachenko lost.
Looking at that butt, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if cards matter to him. I feel like you're going in there to knock somebody out at some point during the fight. There's going to be a point, or it's going to be decisive, and it's like it's go time. And there's another level you can go to.
It's got to be frustrating if you lose a fight that you think you won. That has to.
I'm just saying for his,
100%.
Watching him.
It's the only sport that can happen.
Yeah, that's true.
That can't happen in basketball. It can't happen in tennis.
It's true. It's true.
You just win. The person who has the most points wins.
Yeah, it's true.
Boxing is left to a person making a judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that could actually be corrupted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely bad. And it's been bad. And do got to do something about it. You never seen a bad judgment get overturned either. I don't care how many times you watch the fight and the whole world say this guy got robbed. You never see.
And that is absolutely correct. You know, they have so many bad calls in boxing, you know, and you have these judges, and who the judges answer to? The commission, or do they? But at the end of the day, you have these bad calls and you have these bad decisions and people in awe and nothing happens, you know, like Gabriel Maestre. And, you know, I wasn't pulling for him to win because I remember he tried to cheat against Michael Fox, but, you know, they didn't overturn something so blatantly, you know what I'm saying? Just something so blatantly. They wouldn't overturn it. You know what I'm saying? I'm wondering why. I'm like, how? How can they not, you know, overturn this fight? It was absolutely a robbery. They got it wrong. They weren't trying to get it right.
It get overturned. So I think that's something that needs to be fixed. I think there should be certain qualifications to allow you to be a judge. I think they should go through certain things that the fighters got to go through. Every time they have the opportunity to ref or judge, because they play a big impact to these fights where, you know, these fighters is fighting their ass off, and to get it taken away from the judges is heartbreaking.
Stuff.
Yeah.
That's why you go about it the T-Bud effect. You get them up out of there so it doesn't go to the scorecards for the final round of completion. You get them up out of there with TKO. You know what I'm saying? Another Bud TKO. And yes, it is another Bud TKO.
So, well, Terrence, my brother.
Oh, one last question.
Well, I got a half of a statement because I want to know if my good brother and our brother
Just wanted to start a business.
and told you were going to lose. Did Charlamagne reach out to you?
I'm going there tomorrow. I'm going there tomorrow.
The get back.
I want to see the look in his
Get
face.
back. All right, my last question is, who's your all-time top 5 pound-for-pound fighters?
Got to be Roy Jones, Floyd Mayweather, Andre Ward, Sugar Ray Leonard, Terrence Crawford.
Got to be in the 5.
There you
Gotta
have
be in
it.
the, what's your Court Stevenson?
Huh?
Is he one of your favorites?
Izzy. Man, little bro is.
I'm saying that's your guy.
That's my little
Who's that? Shakur Stevenson?
Yeah.
Hey, listen.
I mean, that's going to be the Haney fight. That should be the Haney fight.
He's going to be the next pound for pound number 1.
I can see how he's working with you. He has that look.
You know.
He had that look in his eyes after that Haney fight. That was interesting.
Yeah, man. He's so talented. He's on a right path. Got his head clear. I don't see too many people beating him. I see, you know, him and Devin, him and Tank being a great fight because all 3 of them talented. Yeah. All 3 of them, you know, gonna be fighting for supremacy. But I just think Shakur boxing ability, his reflexes, and his defense gonna take him to the next level.
Oh, my brother, appreciate you. Thank you for making the fight.
Yo, big shout out. Don Dot on deck. I see you. Everyone that pulled up in the AM. If you up this late, I know you up for a reason. The good part about it, if you stopped in to, you know, take a little peep at the show, yes, sir. That's the way it goes. You know what I'm saying? Early in the AM. But, you know what I'm saying? At least you didn't have to do push-ups to get up for boot camp. Because in boot camp, this was around the time that they was getting us out the racks to go to chow. It sucked. Oh, God damn. But man, talking about this boot camp right now, shout out to, the hottest chat in the game, of course, 8-Side Official. This was a very thorough interview, in my opinion, very thorough. He kind of went over certain intricacies, certain areas, certain points that were spot on and what you're supposed to do in that type of business. You know what I'm saying? And when you're presented with that type of business opportunity, that business, administrative logistics, that can be everything in your career, thinking to be rushed, not having the right people around you, not having someone to read you over the contract and tell you what's right, what's wrong. I mean, it can really put you on the shelf for quite some time. And at this point in his career, independently, he was still able to carry out. And that's what I like. Independently, he was still able to carry out and make this fight happen. Before he was talking to Errol Spence handlers. Then Errol Spence had to make an adjustment on his team when he found out he was getting played, with all the money he was going to be losing. So I guess Bud wasn't negotiating in bad faith then, huh? Because if they found out that the hedge funds wasn't working, he went back and did research. That's what it's all about. You go back to the drawing board, so to speak, or the office, and you talk it out. In this situation, you talk it out and try to find out what's next. What do you do next? What's a better plan? How do we return with something that's beneficial? So we know Errol Spence hired on Adrian Clark, and the deal ended up being made. And they got paid very, very well. But to you know what I'm saying? I think with Terrence, it's not just all about perfecting his accuracy in the ring. I believe he works the same target location and accuracy outside the ring too. And it's going to show with his upcoming fights as far as his negotiations. So he don't have to worry about all that. He got all the belts. You know what I'm saying? He's current reigning defending. And I look forward to see how this whole entire scenario is going to play out with Jamel Charlo, Tim Tszyu, Errol Spence. See, as this month tick away, we're going to have to find out at the end of the month, what is his decision? Is he going to come back for an immediate, or he's just going to pass it up and go to 154 and start trying his hand up there? We'll see. But yeah, y'all hold this down. As always, man, appreciate y'all pulling up. Crawford said, my mindset, win at all costs. You know what I mean? But salute to y'all, man. Good morning. Enjoy your day. Have a wonderful day, people. And we should do it again. I'm out.